I guess I'm just gonna have to pirate the next generation because I'm not fucking paying for Paramount Plus.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they get, right? For making all this freaking all the different streaming networks. Like, people are going back to piracy.
Yeah. Okay.
This is what you get for not getting along.
Can you hear my cat playing with her toy in the background?
Not through here, but I might hear it during the. Is it really loud?
It's really loud. Hold on, let me.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah. We sit here in silence until he's done kicking his cat out. Let me change my background. I'm in space.
Whew. Sorry, I just had to. Oh god, there's an alien!
Nice.
Your expression makes me feel like you have no faith in me.
What are you doing?
Planting.
Okay, cool.
Putting it next to the sun.
Getting yelled at by my girlfriend. Live on the internet. Oh, how's the Rita, by the way?
She's good.
She didn't get affected that much?
Ooh, it's working now. No.
Yay!
No, she was like laid up real bad for the first couple of days, but
Oh, really?
But it was like, what was it, Friday? She's like, I can breathe out one of my nostrils now.
That's always an improvement.
Yeah. She, I mean, she just had like some stomach problems and some really nasty congestion, but other than that, it's been, so. She tested, she took a,
almost like science works.
yeah, I know, right? It's weird. But she took a second test, some stomach problems today, and it still came back positive. So I'm like, well, you might, it might still be working its way out.
Science works.
Because like, yeah, I know, right? It's weird. Because when she took it, it actually took a little bit of time for it to come back up positive. Whereas the first time it was like boom, like positive, like lit up like a Christmas tree, you know.
Damn. How about you? Are you been like sleeping in the different room?
Yeah, I've been in the guest room. This like I've been in the guest room, and like this is like my wing of the house now. So
you have a line of tape in the middle.
I mean, pretty much. It's like the only time I actually kind of interact with her like face to face is when I'm making dinner, and even then it's like, you stay in the living room, I'll cook dinner, plate, okay, bye. You know.
Yeah.
So
gotta be. Yeah. All right, you ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do this thing.
Well, not yet. I gotta do the
shit.
Come on, man. You messed it up.
All right, let's do the intro. Face.
And you ready for another episode of A Talk of Opportunity?
That's not what the intro is.
Oh, shit. I messed it up. Because I'm not ready.
Oh, let's get ready to roll down.
The rumble. Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Wow, you come up with that theme song yourself? Yeah. It's very, very impressive.
If oh man, that Dungeons and Dragons movie would have been so much better if they had like some like shitty mid-90s techno.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that made Mortal Kombat like recognizable.
Iconic.
The movie.
Yeah,
the movie.
The movie,
yeah. Not the video game.
Yeah, that fucking soundtrack slaps, bro.
It still does.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
And welcome to another episode of A Talk of Opportunity. As usual, it's me, Jose, your host, and as always, my co-host over there, the hacker on that side. If you're watching us live on Twitch, he's hacking. Look at him, so fast! Wow.
I'm getting into the IRS 4 times, just like Neo.
Whoa!
I know kung fu.
Oh, but yes, this is your podcast all about things Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop, except for this past 2 episodes, because we're talking about Starfinder. We're really doing this to like get our players to want to play Starfinder. Guys,
is it working? I'm not entirely.
More than likely, it's not. I think we're scaring them away.
I've been trying to be real subtle about it. Be like, well, so that Starfinder episode, pretty interesting stuff, huh?
You know, it's getting kind of weird. And you always try to like
And
just shove in Starfinder into Rime of the Frost Maiden.
and the only response I've been getting is, nah, I haven't. Actually.
Oh, well, this episode might change their...
Trying to shove Starfinder into Rime of the Frost Maiden. Octavio, you trip and you find a laser gun?
What? You do 30d6 damage.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Gar, light him up with the cryo grenades!
They never stood a chance. Ranking up levels. 5, 6, 7. There's like loot all around the place.
Just beer, just this could be our reality if we went into Starfinder. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this episode might change their minds a little bit because we're gonna be talking about the classes and races of Starfinder.
You want guns? We got guns, baby.
All the guns. But with that, let's play the music.
So after that brutal assault by the Orc warrior, the initiative now goes to you. Jose, what do you do?
I'm gonna cast and we're back. Oh wow, I actually timed that nicely for the first time ever. Yeah! Alright, Andrew. So, our last episode was pretty interesting. 3.5 hours of just Starfinder
It was
talk.
3.5 hours being like, dude, wouldn't it be cool if you had like died from decompression in space, man? I don't know why we talk like that, but just 3.5 hours of us being like, dude, aren't like spaceships the coolest, dude?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, I pressed something on my microphone and it's like, all the lights are going up. I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna have to look up this up.
Oh no, you're cool. Don't worry about it.
Okay, great. Excellent. So, Andrew, today we're talking about the essential, the thing that makes the game go. Not the rules, but the classes.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
And the race. Yes. So, I went through this whole ordeal. I was reading all of them and whatever.
Hold the phone.
Holding the phone.
You're not going to talk about what we're drinking today?
Oh snap! I'm so excited to talk about classes and races that forgot. What are you drinking today, Andrew?
I am having the future of coffee, Boss Coffee.
Oh, you bought it.
I bought it, and now I'm gonna drink it. Yeah,
So-
y'all.
So what's the deal with Buzz Coffee?
Boss Coffee has been around since 1992 by created as a subsidiary of the Suntory company known for their whiskeys, and apparently it just like exploded, like the biggest brand name of like canned coffee. And
Really?
Holy crap! You can like immediately smell this. Oh my god! And they're known for having a method of like brewing hot and then pretty much flash freezing to lock in flavor and stuff. And it's huge. Like anybody, like if you go to like anything remotely Japanese, like Boss Coffee is like it's like their Folger. It's like that. Yeah. So I'm gonna try it.
I'm gonna have to check that out at some point whenever I see it.
Yeah, I have been searching for this in the wild for a long time because there's only one Asian market where I'm at, and they never have Boss Coffee. They actually had Boss and that Ook coffee that Alex was talking about, but I'm like, oh, one of the other. So I'm like, all right, I just went with the Boss Coffee, so I'm gonna try this out. It smells really great. Oh my god.
Is it worth it? Is it everything you ever wanted?
Oh, that's so good. When I said it's the future of coffee, I meant it. It's gonna take over the world. And this can is surprisingly sturdy. Like,
Crush that! Or either that, or, either that, or you're just weak.
You know, it could be that too. The COVID could have like taken me in my sleep or something when I didn't realize it. But I feel like I could probably stand on this can. It's really sturdy. Anyway,
the can is why it's so expensive.
Probably, but this is really good. Well, I mean, it's like $30 for a 12-pack if you buy it from.
Whoa, $30. That's like what, $3 a can? Almost $3 a can.
Just about. It's just the math isn't perfect, but yeah, it's $29.99, and then there's shipping, which if you have Amazon Prime, which you should, because as a U.S. citizen, you're born with like an Amazon Prime membership. It's like shoved into your neck like a fucking cow.
Yeah, man, but it comes with Amazon Video, so it's totally worth it.
I mean, I guess. I haven't seen the Marvelous Miss Maisel, but I heard it's good.
Exclusive to Prime. We are not sponsored by Prime.
Nor will we at this point.
Yeah, definitely not. I am drinking just a regular oolong peach tea.
Ooh.
I love oolong.
Oh, and I just did the math. It's $2.50 per, which actually.
Yeah, that's kind of what you would expect from like if you get out of like a gas station. $2.50. Yeah. Look at that! You already finished the whole can. Holy shit, bro!
I actually kind of need it because I did not sleep well, and I woke up really groggy this morning. I'm like, oh, I need coffee. I'm like,
I slept like a champ. I knocked off. I woke up like, you know when you wake up and you feel like somebody punched you in the face. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that.
Wait, what? How is that sleep? Oh, you meant like a boxing champ. That's how you slept. Like you woke up like cauliflower ear and shit like that.
Yeah, I slept so deep.
I slept like as if I had a concussion, which is to say I didn't wake up.
Jeez, that got so dark.
That's what happens when you go to sleep when you have a concussion. There's like a severe chance you can have like a brain aneurysm.
Well, that's good to know. I will. That's why I always tell people to stay with me. Stay with me.
That's why. That's always like why whenever someone gets like a head injury, you have to keep them awake because like I don't know, something can happen. Like wires go crazy, and next thing you know, they have a brain aneurysm. Anyways, thanks for informing us, Andrew. But today we're talking about Starfinder. So I have a list that we're gonna go down because we're gonna talk about all the different races and classes of Starfinder. Mm-hmm. So, starting off. Oh, well, first thing is first impressions for me, right? Because I'm brand new, shiny, RPG. Like, we play Call of Cthulhu, which you're just all humans. Like, you're just human, right? You play Cyberpunk. You're human, and then your race gets selected later.
By
the actions of whatever.
I think, in Call of Cthulhu, like the most like race thing ever is actually being racist because most of the adventures are based in like that time.
No,
so if you're like,
I meant more like you start as a person and then you might end up as like a fish person.
Oh, yeah. No, I know that you meant, but like in the actual book and rules, like that's like slightly mentioned, like hey, by the way. You know, because that could be into role playing. Like
it's a product of the time. Blah blah blah.
Aspects of the adventure may contain some sensible.
Why is there a sidebar in the book that says heritage, not hate? I'm kind of worried about that.
Then we have, we play Cyberpunk. Hi Mia. Good morning.
And that's also all human.
She lost her Windows privileges.
Oh, sorry. I was working on my reaction for the stream. But
yeah. All right. Then they're also human. You have some like weapons which school. We talked about that for Starfinder. Mm-hmm. And then the most diverse one is Dungeons and Dragons that I've played. But even then, most of the races and classes, all they're all really very similar, right?
Yeah.
There's not like a lot of changes for all of them, other than like some of them are specific to like, oh, you get more intelligence, you get more strength, you get more whatever, right? That's always a positive.
Yeah, it's always like a little bit of a tick sheet. Like, okay, you get plus to this. Do you have dark vision? or no. You know, like there's really nothing that really like pops. Like there's a certain couple of things like the Goliath. Hi, Kristen. There's a certain couple of things like the Goliath gets like a powerful build and like gets like an extra blah 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 for their critical attacks, but it's nothing really that's like boom that like
yeah. It's very mayonnaise. It's not a lot of spice. And like you go to, and even like when you go through the adventures, you go through like different towns and whatnot. It's you know, like, oh, you know, in the book they kind of mentioned like, oh, tieflings are like sometimes looked down upon, but even then it's like, oh, Waterdeep, there's all kinds here. Oh, you know, 10 towns. Oh, look, they look at you weird, but hey, they welcome you with open arms type situation.
I mean, actually, 10 towns is designed to be like, no, we're used to weirdos. We know we're like the grease trap of the world. Like sometimes the worst just come here. But yeah, no, there was like, what's it for? Like Curse of Strahd is supposed to be like, oh, it's only humans in Barovia, so so they're not used to outsiders. But I'm like, I'm not gonna have every encounter be like monsters and stuff like that. Then you had to like, you know, calm down the situation and stuff like that. That's just how you make people not go to towns.
Which, by the way, every time we go back to that adventure, like that where they have the wanted posters for the party,
and Small Drax's poster was just him.
It's just because everybody has exaggerated features, and Small Drax is just Small Drax.
It's just Small Drax because Alex picked the most horrifying art for a lizard. Like there was like blood and shit dripping off the teeth and stuff.
It can't get any worse than that. But so D&D, which is the one that we have more experience with, like yes, there's slight differences, but there's not like oh cool, okay, you know, a human and a half elf, meh, you know, like a Goliath and anything barbarian, you know, like it's very like you can what's the word I'm looking for? They're very interchangeable. Like there's not a lot.
Yeah.
Then you come back into Starfinder, and I'm like reading through all of these, and they're so different.
Yeah, it's just like the Vesque has just signed a peace treaty, so nobody likes them.
Also, they're very scary.
like the ink is still wet on that stuff.
There's still a mistrust going around, and like I like it because they lean into it, right? Like they're like, oh, they tell you there's like every single one of them is like, which I guess technically D&D also has it, like the little, like it's like 2 lines. It's like, oh, dwarves don't really trust elves, and like, but it's like so hidden and like
it's
you know
I mean you have to understand 5e was kind of made to not be like intimidating, so that was like, hey, just go ahead and pick whatever you want, it's all cool, you know.
Yeah, which I appreciate.
And there's, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I think it's great that, you know, we're not going to be like, oh, we treat tieflings as like second-rate citizens or some crap like that.
Right.
Because that's just like, dude, no. I play these games to get away from that kind of crap. But
right, exactly.
But I also like the fact that in Starfinder, it's like, okay, everything is cool now, but there is history.
Yeah. And the thing is that it lends itself to it because, I mean, Forgotten Realms, really, the Sword Coast Plus is where we are. So like, there's like physically there's not a lot of separation in all the adventures that we've played. The farthest we've gone is like Avernus, and all the devils were cool. Like, yeah, dude, you're awesome.
Yeah, hey man.
But that's because I was DMing. But like here, it kind of makes sense, right? Because they're planets. I mean, these are distances, vast distances away, and some of these races come from out of the world packs into this world. Like, so it's expected for there to be massive differences.
Yeah.
Including like the way I like that they all have the little section for their home world, and how they like it gives you a lot of material to role play with, and how they interact with other people. Because if you think about it, with aliens, you don't know what's right and what's not right for them.
Yeah, I think one of the races, I'm trying to remember which one it was, but one of them said, I think it's the Kasathas. It's like the way they do things is considered backward. Because that's because they're so fervently traditionalists and stuff like that. And but it would be mind-boggling for somebody else to have to like do things the way they do, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really interesting. So we're gonna go down the list of all the classes first, and then races, and then all the classes, right? Because you kind of start with the race, and then you build up to it, or whatever. But the point is, they're all very interesting. So let's get started. The first one, because we're going in alphabetical order, is androids.
Androids.
And I'm gonna do the quick bullet points on the left page, and then we can really dive into it, right? So the first one is androids. You get a +2 to dexterity, a +2 to intelligence, and what is that, Andrew? Is that a negative value?
Oh my.
What?
Oh god! Oh god! Oh god!
I'm gonna go to Twitter. I need to tweet this. This is not right.
I need to let Chris Perkins know.
Cancel. Cancel. Cancel.
Cancel the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually talked about it before. It's like, hey, are we gonna talk about like negative values?
Yeah, negative values are totally fine. All they do is that they just add a little bit of like what's the word? Like tactical, like precision and picking classes and stuff like that. And if anything they can I see nothing inherently wrong with negative. So.
Same. Like honestly same. And like I kind of appreciate them because, you know, the way we play is we roll 3 sets and pick the best out of the 3 sets, right? Mm-hmm. But for the most part, the 3 sets that we roll are pretty good.
Yeah.
And most classes don't have negatives. So I kind of appreciate that there's negatives here because we can actually lean into that. Like we've all been doing that a little bit where we lean into our negative ability scores.
The most fun we had recently was when we leaned into our negatives. So
yeah, so that's great.
Yeah, so it would be one thing if all of the races had bonuses and then there was one that had a negative. Like, okay, what's the deal with that? But they all have negatives, so
yeah.
Except for the humans, but that's only because their bonuses aren't really that.
Yeah, we'll go over humans in a little bit.
Yeah.
So the androids. So +2 dexterity, +2 intelligence, -2 negative charisma, and 4 HP. Most of these races are considered medium, so I'm just gonna leave it at that unless otherwise stated. But then the cool thing about these guys is that they're constructed.
I think there's only one race that's and that's the very last one. But yes, no, they are considered constructs, not like humans, not living things. They are considered constructs. So a lot of things, I want to say a lot of things that the mechanic can do can mess with an android.
Yeah. Well, also the cool thing about this, and kind of like the hard sort of thing about this, is that it's a humanoid. It's considered a humanoid and a construct. So anything out in the game that applies to either of those, it applies to it. The worst one applies to the android.
I like the parenthetical. Whichever effect is worse.
That's how you know a DM wrote this.
Yeah. But I mean, that would be really cool if it was something like I said, going back to the mechanic. You can use we'll go into it later, but if you can use your overload ability to be like, oh, there's these android guards. Hold on, I'm going to use the overload ability. And one for like a round, like, okay, we got 6 seconds to get the hell out of here.
Then they have exceptional vision, and I believe what this is that they can see as in regular light. They can see in dim light as if it was regular light, and then obviously they have dark vision. Yeah. Flat effects. So this is their -2 penalty to senses motive check. So they're
they get a -2 penalty to sense motive checks, but they also get a +2 to their DC for anyone that wanted sense motives against them.
Right. Yeah. Well, you're playing data from
that's exactly who it is. You're playing data where it's just like, I don't understand what the fuck is Pinot Gris. You know?
Yeah. And then I think one of the coolest ones on this one is that it has an upgrade slot. So kind of like an armor, you can put an upgrade on it, like right from the get-go. So that's just the left side of like I'm looking at the book. The left side, like the book is laid out really nicely in the sense that it has the left side on it, which gives you a quick overview rundown of the race, and then it keeps going into like where they come from, blah blah, and all that stuff. So let's dive a little bit into like kind of like the background of it, right? So androids originally developed for servitude, and eventually they developed souls.
Yeah.
Made by humans back in the age before the gap.
Yep.
In Galorian. Galora? Whatever.
Yeah, Golarian, I think.
Golarian. Yeah.
The Golarian Jihad. Wait, no, that's something else.
Oh, wait, we're not going to the. I'm gonna do a special on that book. Too,
Is that the Gap? Is it a Galarian Zeon? And the guy,
Oh my god!
and the guy's like, wait, no, we can't do it. Frank Herbert's gonna sue us. Gap.
Reset. And then technically they can look. So they mostly look humanoid. They're like perfect humans. They can. I think originally they had like actual flesh, right? Because they like androids, so they were like bionic droids. But eventually they opted out to have like an actual like metal like skin tones and stuff. And I like the way they look because they have like this like tattoos that remind me of
Circuitry.
No, Atlantis, the Lost Empire, the old the elders with the tattoos, yeah, like that. But there's circuitry. There's circuitry. And I believe they can look like any race they want to look like, but most of them opt out to be humans. Like they can be constructed however they want to be constructed, and they are all made in this. I'm gonna call it a cauldron. They're just constructed, and from the get go they're already adults. Like they're not kids or anything. They don't grow out to be and immature or anything like that.
Oh yeah,
and they can live forever.
I mean it. They're like lobsters.
Yeah.
They only live.
So
they only live for as long as they can survive.
Yeah, exactly. So they can live forever and ever. But most of them decide to kind of like what do they say? They release their bodies after a century.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like a thing. And I don't know the details. I like to imagine that they go to like this whole ritual thing in their home world. Which, by the way, which is their home world? I know it's Galorian, but I think they're all over the peg worlds. Well, anyways, and the last and because of all these things, because they're like beautiful and they live forever, and they're hard to read, and they have like a hard time understanding other races. They're largely insular, and they like tend to just kind of like hang around their own kind, and they kind of respect some of the races, like who is it? The
Kasathas.
The Kasathas, yeah, because they're like self-sufficient. The Shirens, because they used to be an enslaved and misunderstood race as well. They're always worried about humans for obvious reasons.
Well, also like the Shirens, we'll get into that later. But the Shirens like kind of had to force themselves to like rely on one another, and that so it's like the androids see like a kindred, like brotherhood, this and that. But before you go on, it says that they obviously gravitate towards Absalom Station, but then they also consider the machine cities of Abalon and Diaspora either.
Okay,
so, there you go.
Yeah, and I guess I didn't read this, but actually it says that Galorian, though they are strong indications that the first androids were actually travelers from a distant star system.
There you go. So
that's interesting.
So it's really just groundwork for probably anybody that wants like homebrew. Like, oh yeah, there is an actual android home planet, and we have been, what's the word, like refugees, or
right?
So we have been traveling. They're the Fremen.
The Fremen. Yeah.
Or no, not
either that, or they're like a microbial type life form that eventually found host in androids, the first androids, and that's how they develop souls.
Not the Fremen. There was a race of people that were refugee planet wherever they went. Like, no, get out of here. We don't watch it. But anyway.
I think it was the original Fremens. I forgot their name. We spoke about them.
I can't. I can't remember. I'm not. Anyways, but
yeah.
But I think it's before we go any further, I think it's kind of horrifying how they were originally designed to have organs and skin. Like what the seriously, Galorian scientists, what the actual fuck? Like, why would you do this? Like maybe it was something where it was like, oh no, this is for like organ transplants or something like that, or we're like harvesting synthetic organ kind of a deal. But like, why would you create something that's like, yeah, you have cyber cirrhosis of the liver? Like, it's so weird and mind-boggling. So the androids are like, yeah, this is a weakness, I'm getting rid of it naturally.
Yeah,
if you could,
right, it makes sense.
If you could, I would get rid of this shit in a heartbeat. Or not a heartbeat, but still.
Yeah. So I mean, this is like one of those races that obviously intelligence and dexterity they can lean to neuromancer or what's the name of the other one? The one that's like essentially the rogue. Operative.
Yeah. Jeez. Wow. I immediately forgot the names of the classes.
Yeah. It doesn't technically lock you out from many classes, right? But you wouldn't want to do this with like a Solarian, right? That needs charisma.
Yeah, Solarian or Envoy. However, if you play your cards right and you pick the right background and you roll well enough, an Envoy or a Solarian android would make for a very interesting, especially a Solarian, which we'll get into why that's interesting.
Yeah. Solarians are the most interesting race to me. I would not want to start with those, but they're cool.
Solarian.
I mean, class.
Yeah, Solarian's definitely not starter. Actually, a lot of these classes are not starter. I hate to say it.
Yeah, well, there's a couple. There's two I think that I can think of, and we'll get to it in a little bit.
Yeah.
So which one it is, but there's like two that I'm like, I wouldn't start with that. It's kind of like the Wizard with D&D. Like when I first read the Wizard, I'm like, I do not want to play this because it's the same overwhelming. But now I'm like, fuck it, Wizard.
Now Wizards is just really cool. Actually, I meant all of these classes are really starter friendly and they're super fun, and you can just easily.
Andrew, we're supposed to convince them that
Starfinder. I know. I realized my mistake. These classes are so intuitive. It's almost like
they're so
easy themselves. Anyways, let's move on to humans.
they're not that bad.
They're really not. It's just if it was something where it was like you have to make a class like a class at level 10, first of all, why?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
But no, if you're taking,
then it'll be overwhelming.
Yeah, if you're taking it level by level, you're good. So
yeah. So humans. Literally on my notes for all the other races, I have like a couple bullet points each, and the humans that have they're human.
Humans. They only get a +2 to 1 ability. They don't get a negative, but they only get a +2 to 1. So
yeah. So it's good to point that out. It's 2 points to 1, not like D&D where it's like 2 points to either 2 different ones. I mean, 1 point to 2 different skills, or 2 points to 1 skill.
Oh,
it's actually to just 1.
Something we forgot to mention is that depending on your race is your starting HP. Because android.
Oh, HP. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Androids is 4 HP.
And humans is 4 HP. I think a lot of them
4 HP.
4 HP. I think is the base. I think there's only one that goes to 6 and only one that goes to 2. So a lot it's going to be 4 HP and build off of that.
Yeah.
Class.
So humans. I mean, humans are humans. It's in every fantasy world and every fantasy fiction piece of work out there. It's always the same. They're very creative. They're very driven for better and for worse. Mm-hmm. You know, they're like, look at Mass Effect. Like, oh, do we like humans? I don't know. They're kind of like a plague, but not really. Look at this guy. He's like they're the Mary Sue of races in a good way. Like you can mold him to be whatever you want him to be.
Yeah. I mean, really mechanically, the only really interesting thing about being a human is that you get a bonus feat right out the gate.
Right out the gate.
And
so it's essentially the
variant human.
It's very human. Yeah.
You get and that's not even counting your level 1 feat, which you will get also as well. So you actually start out with 2 feet.
2 feet, not 1 feet,
as you should. But
so it's again, they don't have a negative, but they don't get any cool tentacles or ways to repeat like the other races.
Yeah,
and it's fine. I think it's cool. You can honestly focus this race onto any class and really come on top. I mean,
yeah, one of the other only interesting things about humans is that
this is what Howard's gonna play.
I mean,
and he'll make and you know what? He'll make like a killer character.
And he will make a god tier human character. Just to rub it in our faces, and we still won't learn our lesson about it. Anyway, but it's the interesting thing about humans is not so much humans themselves; it's how other races see the humans. Like what you said before. Some people can see humans as like intrepid adventurers, but others can see them as just like a virus on the galaxy.
Yeah. And
some can actually what's the word? Sympathize with them losing their home world of Golarion, and some of them just like, you guys are gross and you only live for 70 years. Please stay away from me.
Right. Yeah.
So
and I think
so. It's really it's really more like the outsider's perspective on how other races, it's not so much themselves.
Yeah, and for obvious reasons. I mean, they were the ones that were impacted the most after the gap.
Yeah.
Like, the fucking planet just disappeared.
Which, by the way, we should probably also add, these races that we're going through right now are just for Starfinder. If you want to play like dwarves and half-orcs and stuff, that's still in here. It's just in the back of the book, and it's just like a quick little blurb.
Right.
That's still there.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
like it's not like only humans made it out, and all the dwarves and gnomes were just like stuck on Galarian when it, I don't know, erupted or something. Oh, sorry, it's unreachable by magic and time. Yeah,
It's safe.
yeah,
though.
yeah, it's safe, all right. It's fucking Stardust. That's what happened too. But still, yeah, no, all the fantasy races are still here. But this is just going over like the fancy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The new stuff, the cool things from space.
Yeah.
Right. Next, the Kasathas.
All right.
Kasathas.
I think it's Kasathas.
Kasathas.
Kate.
Yeah, it's the Kasathas. The most alien looking ones.
Yes.
Because the Basque, they just look like lizard folk. So like, yeah, I'm comfortable with that. But these guys actually look like the alien, quote unquote, stereotype.
Shirens probably are also the most alien looking ones, but these are the most like stereotypical, like these are the ones you would expect from a flying saucer that goes like
Yeah.
and they're like, we come in peace, and then they get,
And then it's like somebody releases a pigeon and
yeah.
Yeah. So these guys
Because humans are the real monsters. Sorry, I just want
right.
each other.
These guys come out with +2 to strength, a +2 to wisdom, and a -2 to intelligence. And their starting HP is 4.
So that will
4.
probably make them good for melee classes. The Mystic is a good choice for them as well, because I think the Mystic uses wisdom. Really, the only thing they're not going to be great at.
So Solaris is like their thing.
Yeah, I mean, really, the only thing they're not going to be good at, I think, is Mechanic and Technomancer. Which honestly,
Obviously intelligence based.
yeah. So
Yeah. Let's see. They have. Notice that the human. We didn't go down the left page of the human because it's literally empty. It's like.
I mean, it's a page full of like, it's a human. What did you expect?
Yeah, look at yourself. That's you.
Like it's just like the D&D human thing where it's like, oh, humans can be as varied as you want. But yes, I know. I also live on the planet Earth. I'm well aware of how varied of humans can be.
They have Desert Stride, which means they can move to non-magical, difficult terrain, desert hills and mountains at their normal speed, which is pretty cool. Which
is saying a lot, because the traveling, there are significant rules for travel.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not just like, oh, you get there.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have 4 arms.
But that does not mean they can wield 4 weapons.
They can wield 4 weapons,
but they can't use 4 weapons
at the same time. It's one weapon at a time.
Yeah, it describes something how like the other 2 arms are like more like vestigial. So it's like they can use items or something like that, but they can't like. Yeah. It's not like you can like, be like.
Yeah, items at the ready.
Yeah, it's like you can be like that guy from Boondock Saints where he has like the 8 guns and shit. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, it just means that you don't. Does that mean that you don't have to spend actions getting things out of your packs? You just have them ready, like 2 potions of healings at the bottom.
Let's see. With the multiple arms, decrease the number of items they can have at the ready. I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're just faster at having things with you.
Yeah. So it's it could be something like, I ready my action for these 2.
These 2 whatevers.
Yeah.
And then they're also historians, so they get a +2 racial bonus to culture checks. And we'll go why they're historians in a little bit. And then they have natural grace. Kasathas receive a +2 racial bonus to acrobatics and athletics.
Oh, well, I mean, okay, actually, sorry. I reread the 4-arm thing. And I guess what that means is that they can wield 4 weapons. So it can be something with like, I got like a fire weapon, a cryo weapon, a electricity weapon. So,
melee.
So it's like, whatever you got, throw it at me and I can adapt to it,
Right.
So I guess.
Yeah. You just can't use 2 weapons at the same time in one action.
Yeah.
So you just have them ready. You're not sheathing one to get out your shotgun.
Yeah.
And waste, you know what I mean, like that. Anyways, so that's that. So now let's talk a little bit about where they come from. These guys are the mysterious aliens that came from way away from the pack worlds, and people actually remember when that happened.
Yeah, these are the ancient aliens, like the ones that these probably were the ones that built the pyramid. Crap.
Right.
If you were to believe them.
And for what I understand about this race is that they just like humans, like their planets, constant wars and conflict, whatever, blah blah blah, and then they figure out that like the best way to just kind of like deal with all of that is to always look back into history.
They learn from
and yeah, and they actually apply it to the current situation.
Well, it's
not like humans at all.
Because the way it describes it was that the Kasathas were the most technologically advanced first, but then they plateaued quickly, and then there was like a series of things that led to like almost like an apocalypse for them.
Right.
And so they're like, all right, we did something wrong. We're just gonna like we're done. We're done advancing for right now until we as a society can better ourselves. Which honestly,
oh man, good for them.
Good for them. Good on you, Kasathas.
we're about to get to us in real life. We're about to get to the apocalyptic thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll look back and try to figure something.
Nah, they're still at Mars. We're good.
We're not that rich, Andrew. We won't be able to make.
I didn't say us. I meant
humanity.
Yeah.
We have more planets to destroy.
Yeah, don't worry. It's only one of 9. We're good. Anyways.
Yeah. So these guys, they also brought the what do they call it? The essentially knowledge of like the solar and celestial. I forgot the word that they use. And look, mysterious and mystic and hold up to 4 arms. They migrated slower. Oh, that's right. These are the guys that migrated from that planet to our solar system because they're like, hey, that planet's habitable. Let's go there.
Yep.
And they built a ship, and then they took that ship here, but they didn't travel faster than light.
Well, that was
before
drift travel was discovered. They had to use slower than light technology.
Right. So they get here, and it's I forgot the name of it. It's a ship that we talked about in the last episode where like they live there.
The Adari.
The Adari, yeah. They get there and they're like, oh shit, the planet we're gonna, because we took so long to get here, they're now technologically advanced.
I mean,
and instead of being the stereotypical
years to get there.
That's what I said. I was like, wait, you didn't figure that out? And then when instead of being like the stereotypical alien and invading and killing everybody and taking over the planet, they were like, you know what? We'll just live in our ship and mind our own business. Yeah. Even though some of them did go down and colonize, they did a couple of colonies and they were like, hey, we're just gonna chill here.
Yeah, they just kind of floated around Absalom Station, just like, well, shit.
What do we do now?
Well, no, it wasn't. I think the drift thing kind of screwed up their plans because it described how they embarked on the Adari and they were like, okay, by the time we get there, everything's good, whatnot. But I think it's kind of implied that when they got there, drift technology has caused everything to catch up so quickly that they were outpaced, and because they were outside of, like, they weren't really that involved in what was going on. They were too busy traveling from one solar system to the other. They completely missed the whole drift thing, and so it became this weird, like, irony where they were at once the most advanced, and now they're racing.
Everybody caught up. Yeah.
Well, no, not caught up. They slingshotted past them now. So now the Adari is like, this old piece of shit.
and that's why they all look like very old school and wise and like the old ways and kind of like, so it kind of lends its way into it. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
They also tend to favor melee weapons. Obviously, they're strong and they have 4 arms. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Just grab somebody with 2 arms and just hack at them. It just makes sense.
Yeah, the Kasathas were the ones that immediately, with that and the Vesk, were the ones that immediately grabbed. Whoa, that's cool. That's a neat design. With like the long, smooth skulls and obviously the 4 arms just like, all right, let's do this thing, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I like how they're very much like they describe them as being like, tall and majestic and mystical and like beautiful beings, even though they're very old school in certain ways. I love how like every race so far does not trust the Vesk, and it makes sure to say that.
I mean, when we get into the Vesk, you'll realize why they don't trust the Vesk.
Yeah.
But
and they find like the little rat people that eat the Yunda, whatever they're called, annoying.
The Ahsoka.
The Ahsoka annoying, yeah. And then the Lashuntas, they like them because obviously they're similar. So yeah, very interesting. I like these guys.
Yeah.
They also look like coneheads, but alien.
Yeah, they have like they have like the traditional like alien look to them. I also like how depending on your race, looking at a Kasathas, like they might be either like wise and stoic or far too rigid, and so it would not be out of character to have a Kasathas be like Jin's uncle from Ghost of Tsushima was like, nope, this is the honorable way to fight. Like, we're just gonna approach him head on. No flanking maneuvers, no nothing, just
nothing, just straight on. Yeah.
So in a weird way, these guys are like, I don't know, like what would be like an equivalent, like kind of like the Klingon, where it's just like, honorable death, stuff like that.
No, it's not Klingon. More, they're not as brutish. They're more like Vulcans, but less intelligent. Not so much science, more traditional. Isn't there a Vulcan subrace that is more traditional? Like, I'm sure there is because I know I've seen it in Next Generation.
There's the Romulans, but they're like really like subterfuge. Sneak.
Yeah.
You can't trust a Romulan, but no, like these guys are just like, they would not come up with like subterfuge tactics. Like
well, I think it's you described it well. They're like the samurais.
Mm-hmm.
The samurais, like with their usage of like bows, technologies, and sword technology, they raced to be the dominant race, and then they stagnated there because of their old traditions, and then boom, weapons came along, and they did not do well there because they didn't want to use weapons.
Yeah, they would be rigid to a fault, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Next, the Lashuntas. The sexy space people that humans get shameful.
With the antennas, and they feel you.
Antennas. Yeah.
One's like right here, and like, okay, stay away from the mouth. Get away from there. That's weird.
Yeah, these guys also start with 4 HP. And they... Before, I can't just do this left page without explaining kind of like how their metabolism kind of develops. When they're youngins, they're just gray.
Yeah.
Right? And then depending on what you experience in your childhood, whether it's a lot of trauma or a lot of like, or a lot of like, well, trauma can go both ways. But depending on what your trauma was, either like physical, rigorous, whatever, or like mental and intelligent or whatever on both sides. You develop you eventually evolve into 2 different type of Lashunta.
I think we know what you're gonna be.
Yeah. Well, I don't know because
really,
good at either.
Really, it's more like depending on how you grew up, what your environment was, and how things happen. You can either be the tall, slender, intelligent Lashunta, or the stockier, burlier, stronger.
Yeah, it's essentially are you gonna become a Spartan or are you gonna become a what is the opposite of a Spartan?
Athenian,
yeah. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
so one of them
actually pretty apropos.
Yeah, yeah. One of, like Andrew said, like one of them is beautiful, intelligent, and they usually lead in the governmental part of it of their race, and the Karasha are the ones that are like strong and they do the brunt work and the raid and the wars and the security and whatever. Why? Because in their planet, they have a lot of like predators, like a lot, like a shit ton of them. Like they had that's how they evolved, because they have to. Some of them had to become warriors to protect the tribe, and then some of them had to become leaders and intelligent people to evolve them into what they are now. The cool thing about this, and I think this is just a whole futuristic, like, alien thing that doesn't really apply to humans, and we kind of reflect that in the sense that we wish this would be us, is that they both value, like, education and like, the tribe. And I know, right? It's not like the usual, like, oh, why give him a pen when you can give him a sword type. Yeah. It's like, no, they both encourage you to become whoever you want to be, like, it's like intelligence, and they both encourage both of those. However, you eventually have to be either a Karasha or a Damaya.
Well, the Karasha know a smart warrior is better than a smart warrior lasts longer than a so
yeah, exactly. So they both have values on that, and the cool thing is that both can procreate with whoever they want. Like, there's no like, oh, you're a short, stout man, like you can't be with me, beautiful woman, tall Damaya. No, they can procreate whoever, and when they pop out, the little being pops out, it resembles their parents, however, not their tallness or, Karasha / Damaya aspect of it.
Which would be very interesting if we have, like, 2 Damaya Lashuntas, but their kid was a Karasha, and they're like, where did we go wrong?
Yeah. My parents don't approve. like there you go, backstory, boom.
Yeah, like the Damayas like push for piano practice. Meanwhile, the little kids like in back alleys like having fights and shit.
Yeah. Have you seen the Orville? Have you seen the Orville?
I haven't, but I heard it's a better Star Trek than modern Star Trek.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. And I think there's a couple of storylines in Star Trek that applies to. Anyways, their security officer is this tiny girl, but she's from a race that is super strong. However, their planet is, because of the gravity is so intense. In their planet, everybody's like super smart, and it's about peace and technology and science and whatever. So her parents are Damayas, and then she wanted to be a warrior. So she's a Karasha. She joined, even though she's super smart and whatever. She just wants to beat the shit out of people.
What did we do?
Yeah, and there's like a whole thing. Like, why? Like, they see it as dishonorable, even though she's like the lead, the security officer in like freaking Starship.
Like, no, Mom and Dad, I get benefits. This is good.
Yeah. Like, oh,
you're not a doctor. What?
Yeah.
Oh god, is that what they are? Are they just like the stereotypical like intelligentsia parents where they're like, yeah, you got straight B's, good, I guess.
Yeah, right. Oh man. And then they have Lashunta magic. So they get at will, days, they get a couple spells, and then they have limited telepathy because of their tentacles. Which a couple of these races have them, which is kind of cool because you can use them in like stealth missions and like, or even roleplay moments where you're like trying to send a message to somebody else to communicate a plan. Like, I like it, and it's just innate. It's within 30 feet. You can have a conversation telepathically,
and it describes they can communicate with anybody, not just to Lashunta, just anybody that like understands. They can just broadcast that.
Yeah,
and that's actually seen by some of the races as some of it see that as like intrusive.
Yeah.
Like I can see like a Kasathas being like, okay, dude, you need to stop.
I do not consent. Stop. Yeah. And then they're forever learners, so they get a +2 to any 2 skills of their choice. So to summarize, they get +2 racial bonus to any 2 skills of their choice, and depending if you are a Damaya or Karasha, you get, if you are a Karasha, you get a 2+ strength, a character creation, but you suffer -2 to wisdom. If you're a Damaya, you get +2 to intelligence, but you're delicate, so you get -2 to constitution. However, either way you go, you get +2 in charisma.
Yep.
So I actually really dig this. Like, this really, I know it sounds more complicated than it is, but it makes me more excited to actually play Starfinder, because you can really like. It's hard to explain, but like in D&D, like it's really all up to you. You're like, oh, who am I gonna be, dumb or am I gonna be weak? Like, but here it's like, oh, this race is really cool. I like its abilities. And they have these drawbacks. So I have to compensate this way. But also like these drawbacks give me like a role play like leadway into it.
So so if you're playing as like a Demaya Lashunta, you're naturally going to be like, if you get hit, you'd be like, oh no, like
Yeah.
life is draining from me. Whereas like the Karash was like, dude, you're fine. You took
Exactly.
took 5 points of burning damage. You're good.
Yeah.
So
Andrew, I'm really enjoying it, but we kind of. I know I've been talking a lot, but we kind of have to move along a little bit. So, all right. So the next one is the Shirens, which is the most alien-looking one, honestly. Like alien as in like you don't recognize it, like, not alien as in like. Ooh.
Yeah, like if they had taken his artwork and put it in the monster manual, I never would have known the difference.
Yeah. Like this is gonna sound mean because they're not, but they look like huge cockroaches.
They kind of do. They're very.
Yeah. Actually, they look like the District 9.
Yeah,
aliens.
That
yeah,
that and a mix of like praying mantises.
Yeah. So they start with +2 to Constitution, obviously because they have an exoskeleton, so that makes sense. +2 Wisdom and -2 to Charisma
because they fuckers ugly.
They're ugly as hell. Yeah.
But they start out with a better than normal HP. They start out with 6 HP.
Oh yeah, 6. You're right, because it's really hard to kill a cockroach.
Mm-hmm.
They also have antennae. But instead of reading minds, they get blind sense, which is kind of cool. They just get advantage on like even if you're invisible, they can feel you, so it's pretty neat. Then they have communalism, which means they're used to work with others as part of a team. Once per day, as long as an ally is within 10 feet, you essentially give the ally advantage.
Yeah.
If you want to compare it to D&D aspect of it. And then cultural fascination. They receive 2+2 racial bonus to culture and diplomacy checks. And then they also have limited telepathy. So, yeah, that's fun. So yeah, these are actually one of the most like sturdy and rounded classes.
Yeah,
they're pretty cool because they used to be part of a swarm, right?
They were part of a swarm, and if I remember correctly, they don't really remember what happened.
Yeah. So they have like this weird like sense of like communalism. So they want to be
play the USSR national anthem.
So they enjoy being with other people and being part of a team and whatever. However, they take extreme pleasure on making their own decisions. Ever since they they describe it like almost orgasmically.
Yeah, it's like they're like, well, do you want to upgrade it to a large? And they're like, yeah, I think I will get a large. And all of a sudden it's like a dopamine rush for them.
Yeah. Like to the point that like there's some of these that they just, what do they call it? Choicers? Optioners? Option junkies. Where they get high out of making choices. Like that's their whole, like they're junkies. Of just
man,
that.
a Shirren purchasing a car would have like the greatest. Like, yes, I do.
Actually, anything on Amazon.
Package.
Everything on Amazon, we're like, so that has more reviews, but like a half a less star. Oh god, this one. Oh.
But I mean, but that stems from the fact that they were part of a hive mind for so long that them being able to make their own choices was completely alien to them. Like they're like, wait a minute, I can make my decisions. What?
Yeah, it's like smoking a cigarette to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's a good stuff. Yeah, so they're pretty cool. They whatchamacallit? I think that their biggest drawback is that some people just kind of look at them like, I mean, obviously they're just very terrifying looking.
Well, not only that, but the prejudice still remains of them during the swarm day. Like some of them respect the fact that, hey, you know, you've blazed your own trail and good for you. But then there's some that's just like, oh, any minute and they'll go right back to where you were in the swarm. So it's like this weird. There might actually be a District 9 kind of area where it's like, no, we keep the Shirens over there, you know, just because, like, if you were predisposed to do something like that would make for an interesting setting.
Yeah, it would. All right, moving on to the Vesk.
The Vesk.
The one we've been kind of glinting through the L because everybody hates them. They start with a +2 strength, +2 constitution, so you know where this is going, and a -2 intelligence. They also start with a 6 HP. And these guys look like lizard folks, if you're familiar with them for Dungeons & Dragons. They're just big, broody, muscular, scaly lizards.
Yep, they look like that, but just you know, put them on steroids, and that's pretty much.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
and
There are
and I like how. Sorry, go on.
no. I was just gonna say they're armor savants, so they get +1 ratio to their AC for wearing armor.
But I like how every race pretty much has a little sidebar. Like, how do you feel about the Vesk?
There's a separate group chat without them.
Hey guys, I couldn't help but notice.
So they're also fearless, so they get a +2 racial bonus to saving throws against fear effects. I mean, it makes sense. They're probably the scariest thing in the universe so far. And they get low light vision, so they can see in dim light as if it was normal. However, that doesn't mean dark vision.
No.
Interesting, because like in D&D, dark vision is usually the same, right? Like dark vision, you see dim light, whatever. Like
Yeah. In 5e, it's just like, oh, you got low light vision. You know, if I could just give him dark vision. Oh.
Also, I like how these guys have natural weapons. Like literally, their fists are natural.
You don't need to reload fists.
You get a
But that-
1d3 lethal damage.
But that just lends to just how like brutal and strong and warmonger they are. That they just even a normal Vesk can probably hold their own fist.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
So Andrew, why does the Pack Worlds do not like the Vesk?
because if I remember this correctly, the Veskarium, which was like the Vesk Empire, had been wanting to not colonize. Well, pretty much.
Yeah, they wanted to colonize and conquer, killed and murder like your families, but there's this big alien out there, and we need to work together. I'm pretty sure there were other ones to say that, but that's essentially what happened.
Yeah. So what prompted it is that okay. So keep in mind, the year of the current setting is 317 AG after Gap. So actually, what prompted it was that the Swarm attacked. Like the Vesk were coming in and they were trying to do this hostile takeover, and act like. Anyways, the Vesk came in and they were waging war in the solar system, and then the Swarm came in, and so in the year 291, the Vesk signed the Pact Worlds Treaty, so they can combine forces against the Swarm. And I'm assuming defeated the Swarm this year.
Yeah. Yeah, like literally Mass Effect with the big guy. I forgot the name of the big guys.
Oh yeah,
like,
I forget too. But
yeah.
But so you have this weird thing where 2 out of the 6 races were just recently considered enemies. But weirdly enough, people still hold. I mean, not weirdly enough, but people still hold a deeper grudge against the Vesks than they do against the Swarm. It's like, oh, okay, hive mind, we get that. Whereas like you guys, you chose to do this.
You woke up in the morning and chose to come over here.
Yeah, they didn't have a choice. You guys are just dickheads.
Yeah, and I mean they're very like so their whole the way they are is just very militaristic. They appreciate military minds and military tactics. They're very they relish in conquering and building empires. That's all they do. It's just the way they're just the way they are.
Like these guys are the actual clans, like just
warmongering,
you know. Like
yeah.
Like all the other races came from like Star Trek. These guys came from Warhammer.
Yeah, essentially. So yeah, so these are. I mean, you can see it. I mean, you look at them. This is gonna be the soldier. This is gonna be like the frontline tank. There's a reason why they're described or they're made like. You're not. I don't think you're gonna see this in an intelligent or it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
intelligent or wisdom based, but like they're built to be. Well, I mean, literally the soldier.
Well, I mean, it does describe how there have been some that just kind of fell away from the warmongering mentality. Because I mean, like, dude, you grow up in a society where everyone is like that. You're gonna have a couple contrarians pushing against the mainstream. But I do like how in every race there's like, oh, here are some names you can give to your character, just as like something to jump off of. And some of the ones are like, oh, the Vesk will have a name, but then they'll also have like a battle name. And some of the battle names are 3 Guns, Voidwalker, and Squad Eater. Just to give an idea of like how the Vesk perceive themselves.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next one, the Ysoki, which if I was any of these races, I will be the Ysoki.
I fucking knew you would be the Ysoki. Like I'm like, yep, this is
All right, so let's start with the left side of the page of the spread. So they start with +2 dexterity, +2 intelligence, and -2 strength.
Mm-hmm.
They also have the lowest health points, which is 2 HP.
These are the squishiest. These are
Yeah, which I mean makes sense. They're little rats. And like I said before, actually wait. Yeah, so every race so far has been medium.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are actually small humanoids.
Mm-hmm. They're the only
because they're
actually wait.
yeah, they're
Are the Lashuntas considered? Not the Lashuntas. Yeah, no.
they're all medium. Medium.
Oh, okay, I didn't.
Medium,
I didn't know if maybe the burly Lashuntas were considered small.
Yeah.
'Cause they're-
And then my favorite description of all this is the natural ability of these guys to have cheek pouches. You can store up to 1 cubic foot of items weighing 1 bulk in your cheeks.
and you just
And you can just barf it out as a swift action in the middle of battle.
It sounds like-
So hear me out. Ball bearings.
I got this.
I love it. I'm like, I read it. I'm like, that's hilarious. Like, this is the greatest thing.
It's so what's really funny is that every race has like here's how you deal with the Vesk, and a lot of them also be like, you don't like the Ysoki, not because they're mean or anything, but just because you find them unbearable.
Yeah. So they have that. Obviously, dark vision, so they can see up to 60 feet in dark. Moxie, which is they're just scrappy and nimble. They can stand prone as a swift action, which is pretty neat. You don't waste any of your movement.
They can't be caught flat-footed, which that's a big thing in this game. Which flat-footed just means by surprise.
By surprise, yeah. Why do they call it that?
That's just something. That's how it was in 3.5. I'm pretty sure that's how it was in 8. So
yeah, so they get a +5. +5. That's one of the highest ones. Racial bonus to anything that includes acrobatics. That involves an opponent at least one size category larger of themselves, which means like a little rat like goes up your leg and moves around and you can't catch him. Like it just makes sense. They're also scroungers, so they get a +2 racial bonus to engineering, stealth, and survival checks.
Yep,
for obvious reasons.
Yep.
They're tiny little smart little rats.
Yeah, they got little bodies. They can get into they can get to those areas and change the serpentine belt or whatever the fuck they got to do for the ships, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
They also have this mentioned that they have a heightened. It's not like a mechanic, but they have a heightened sense of smell as well.
mm-hmm.
They can identify complex chemicals just by smelling them.
which that would be really cool. That'd be like have like the Ysoki be like, oh yeah, this is kind of poison. Blah blah blah. Don't drink.
Yeah. Don't drink that. It smells bad. Which makes sense because they're rats. They know how to like not eat poison.
Yeah.
I also love how they describe how they are just chaotic and freewheeling. I love that it describes that whenever they go to their home, their little warrens and whatever, they have like half a dozen unfinished projects all over the place,
and they're always talking over each other. It actually says like, what's it? Full of half finished products and multiple Ysoki talking over each other.
It's great.
It was like every day is Thanksgiving.
They also have a love for technology and engineering, which makes sense. Just you can see them being these guys as engineers all the way, and they're also friendly and talented. Like most, they're just very friendly. Like some people find them annoying, but they're just very nice little creatures.
I also like the fact that I forget where exactly it says it, but they survived only because of the fact that they have managed to like outbreed the rest of the races. Like no, like seriously, like they just they're fruitful and multiply, and that's the only they're rats. Like they're actual rats. That's how rats survive, just by flooding the world with their children. Just like, all right, there's 10 of them, maybe 8 of them will survive. That's still 8 more than what we have. So
Yeah. I love this guy's dude. I was laughing enough, so I was reading the whole thing. But yes, half of our podcast, Andrew, only on the races.
Well, I mean, we're going over races and classes, so that's
yeah. So it's perfect. We did it in a good timely manner.
I mean, the classes are cool, but the races are. I think some of the races are far more.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love all of these. Are so unique. They're so different.
Mm-hmm.
The mechanical aspect of it allows you to make the character. I feel like with D&D, with a lot of times, I'm thinking of this concept, but here it's different. Like I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh, this could be really like it just lends itself to like different little like archetypes, I guess.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
as you're reading the pluses and minuses.
Oh yeah, I mean, you read the descriptions, like the little blurbs about it, and you immediately conjure up ideas. It's like, oh, yep, that would be perfect for that, you know. So.
Yep. All right. Now let's move on to classes.
There are 7 classes in this.
Yes.
I think there's 8 in 5e, or no, there's like a lot more. I think there's like 10, ain't there? Anyway.
In 5e.
Yeah.
There is let's go down them. There's paladin. There is rogue.
No. There's barbarian, bard, cleric, fighter.
Yeah. Really, we play this all the time. Okay, barbarian, cleric, fighter, rogue, wizard, warlock.
You know, I'm acting like as if I
paladin.
1, 2, 3, 6,
7.
11. There's 12 classes.
12? What the fuck? Which one did I miss?
Monk.
Oh yeah, monk. What else?
Okay, so there's barbarian, bard, cleric, druid.
Druid.
Everyone
10,
forgets the druid. Fighter.
Yeah.
Sorcerer, wizard.
Sorcerer 11.
Warlock and wizard.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Anyways, there's a lot less here. However, they can all do so many different things.
Just because there's less classes does not mean you can
Yeah.
stuff.
Can you imagine a book with 12 classes? And like this book will be like twice as thick.
Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, not only on top of that, but we didn't even get into the backgrounds. There are backgrounds here too.
Yeah.
That all
The themes.
which we're not going to get into it because we're already like an hour and something. But it's essentially their backgrounds, just like in Dungeons and Dragons. However, they have mechanical purposes, and as you level up in those backgrounds, you gain more.
Yep. They call them themes, and it kind of makes sense. But yeah, they're very thematic, and like Andrew said, like they're a lot more involved than like when was the last, as you played Dungeons and Dragons, when was the last time, like, so for the most part, backgrounds we kind of talked about it, just kind of fade away.
Yeah, they're just like a good jumping off point, but they really don't do much later on. But in this one, it's like, no, they not only do they give you a plus to a stat, like the bounty hunter one gives you like a plus to Constitution, I think it is, and like the icon gives you like a +1 to Charisma. But then on top of that, they're like, oh, if you're level like 4 as an icon, you can gain a whatever plus to insight checks against that. Yeah,
it tells you specific, like a certain, just like feats or a labeling table in D&D just tells you specific which one, which level you get what.
Yeah,
anyways, so
there's one in particular. It's like the pilot, which I think is like almost guaranteed somebody has, and at least in a long.
And there's a lot
campaign. So
yeah. All right. So the first one, the Envoy, and I kind of like did like this really fun thing here, where I kind of compare him to members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. So the Envoy is just Star-Lord.
100%. It's
Star-Lord, the face of the group. He can usually talk his way through anything. Like he's not necessarily, or they are not necessarily as like skill or have as many weapons as some of the other ones, but like, man, they can talk your ear off.
And they use charisma. I think their key ability score, which we said in the last episode, is based on which gives you your base for your resolve. Is and you actually said they're not skilled, which is ironic because the Envoy gets the most skills.
They have the most skills. Yeah, I was about to say that. I was like, wait, they have. So hold on. Let's start from the top. So their stamina points are 6 plus their Constitution modifier.
Yep.
And they get 6 HP. Now, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 6 HP plus your racial HP, right? Yeah.
So if you were a human Envoy, you would start out with 10 HP.
Right. Their key ability scores, which is like, just like how when you build a Dungeons and Dragons character, it kind of tells you like, oh, strength and whatever.
Yeah.
I scrolled too far. Is charisma and dexterity.
Yep.
For obvious reasons. They're the face, and you want to get away from from problem as fast as you can.
But charisma is going to be the one that dictates how much resolve. So dexterity is good. Dexterity helps in combat and with like range stuff. But your charisma is going to be. So this is definitely not one where it's like, oh, I'm gonna have a low charisma. No.
Yeah. Not in this. I mean, you can. You're gonna have a bad time, but you can't.
It might not last very long, but sure.
Just have a backup character, and then they have class skills, which is the skill ranks per level, which is A plus your intelligence modifier.
Which is a lot.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot. I need you to explain to me skill ranks if you can.
Okay, so at the beginning of the game, you have X amount. Okay, so you know how in 5e you have your proficiency bonuses and stuff like that? Okay, get rid of that. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, just unlearn that. So what it is that at the beginning of this game, you will have X amount of ranks, and these are points you can put into skills. Now the skills that you have that is listed here are the ones that you can put into, right? Now if you so choose later on, like by using feats and stuff like that, you can learn other skills. But there are a lot of things that your character doesn't know.
So what you're telling me is that middle bar in D&D 5e that had the skills, that everybody has the same skills. In this one, everybody has different skills.
If you look at the character page, you'll see that there's a lot more skills in this than there are in 5e. So for every level, you'll get, like, hold on, let's use a different class just as a so like for the mechanic, they will get 4 skill ranks plus their intelligence modifier, whereas the envoy they get 8 skill ranks plus their. And the reason why, yeah, you might be thinking that's a lot of points, but that's because some of these DCs are stupid high. Like I think to hack into the highest tier computer, you have to pass a DC of 53. So yeah.
So these guys can put skill ranks, which increases their base skills. So skill ranks is like their proficiencies.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
And A plus intelligence modifier, is that per or total?
That's what do you mean per?
So like, is it A plus 2, like
per
each skill?
No.
Yeah.
So if you have an intelligence modifier of 2, you start out with 10 ranks, and then you can distribute those 10 ranks however you see fit per. But then on top of that, so if you go to skills, you're obviously you're gonna have your ability modifier. So let's just go with acrobatic.
Yeah. So I was looking at the character sheet, and it has the total equals rank plus class bonus plus ability modifier plus miscellaneous modifications.
Mm-hmm. So the only ones. So if you were to use acrobatics, and let's say you have a +3 to dexterity, so you already have a +3 to acrobatics, but then depending on how many ranks you put into it, helps you out with. So
got it.
So
yep.
So if you decided to put all of your skill ranks into acrobatics, you would actually have a +13 to acrobatics. Right. So that's how that works. Now,
excellent. So it's proficiency on steroids. Like you can be more precise. It's not just a +2 in general. All of them. It's just
right.
Oh, I want to be more proficient, which I guess it makes sense. I want to be more proficient at computers because I spend my whole fucking life doing computers.
Yeah.
Than being an engineer.
But you also have to keep in mind that later on the DC. Well, I mean, not even later on. Like at the beginning, the DCs are going to be much higher. Like to lockpick a simple lock is a DC of 20, which is like fucking mind-boggling for.
Right, but there's a lot of different things that affect that, which makes sense. There's ranks, class bonus, ability modifier, and miscellaneous modifications.
Correct.
Yeah, great. So this class has 16 class skills that you can put stuff into, or ranks into.
Yep.
Because again, they're the face, so they're the jack of all trades type situation. They also favor light armor, or actually not favor. They're just proficient with light armor, melee weapon, grenades, and small arms. Which is honestly, I love small arms. Like every time I play any like futuristic, I always do revolvers and like simple like pew, 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 pew. For some reason I don't go to rifles. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean some of the heavier arms, like I can only imagine like an operative or a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah,
a lot of these people have proficiency in small arms, but with the envoys specifically, they don't have magic abilities, but they also don't have a lot of proficiencies with heavy arms. But what they're good at is the order. They it's like a weird like battle master kind of.
Yeah. And I love like each one of these classes has so many pages for each.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have even more. So I don't want to spend too much time going through each one of the specific skills.
If we did, we'd be here for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm going to highlight some of the fun ones for some of the classes, but again, the Envoy literally is the jack of all trades, master of none. You're just good at a lot of things. You're just good at BSing your way around anything. You know.
Well, also, not,
What would you compare this if this was a class in D&D?
I would kind of put this as a weird non-magical bard. Like
Yeah.
Like they're able to do a lot of things pretty well, and because they're obviously charisma based, they're the face. They can do a lot of negotiations, but also in a weird way, they also get like a kind of battle mastery. In the middle of combat, they can do feints on certain opponents. They can have other PCs like use their move actions if they so choose, and if they use a resolve points, all that stuff is kind of boosted. But they gain a ton of envoy not there's a term for it where they can like sort of dictate like the flow of battle. So it kind of is like a weird like Peter Quill Star-Lord thing where they're not great at one thing, but they are like a natural leader.
Yeah, exactly. I also love how they have the what do they call this section? The builds, the different builds. They gave you essentially like how like a roadmap of if you want to do any of these. So for this one, they have the ambassador, which the theme is Xeno Seeker, military officer, which is the theme is you start with an ace pilot, negotiator, you start with an icon theme, and the scoundrel, which the theme is an outlaw.
Yeah,
and it's pretty cool because again, I can see them. They saw it as being overwhelming, which it kind of is overwhelming. But so they gave you kind of like a little roadmap for things you can do, which is pretty awesome if you ask me.
Yeah, and because they've gained so much more from their skills than any other class, like they get literally double the amount. You're obviously going to be leaning more towards. So
yeah. So
like in a weird way, the Envoy is like the best version of like a utility class. But they are far from useless. You know, it's almost to the point that where it's like if you're gonna have anything like if you're gonna have like a pilot in your group, I would pick an Envoy to be a pilot. You know, because they're like the captain of like the starship or whatever you're on. Like I said, they just a very natural leader.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to mechanic, which I think is actually my favorite. Didn't think it was gonna be, but it's pretty awesome.
The weirdest thing about the mechanic is that I keep equating the mechanic to the wizard, but I'm like, no, there is an actual wizard, but the mechanic is like a computer wizard.
Yeah. No. The Technomancer is a computer wizard.
No, but I mean like the way they like can manipulate like technology and like the way they're so intrinsically like, you know,
more like an artificer,
kind of, but it's weird.
But either way, I mean, so they start with their stamina points is 6+ Constitution, and they start with 6 HP points. And obviously this is Rocket.
Yeah,
from Guardians of the Galaxy. If you need a computer to be destroyed, bypass, or fix, this guy is there, and that's what he excels at.
Yep.
That's what he's gonna be great at.
If your starship sustained damage in the middle of combat and you need it fixed right the fuck now, this guy is like already out of their gunner chair and it's like you know, smashing shit together, trying to, you know, cobble together whatever they need, like a capacitor further, whatever.
Yep. Yeah, literally Rocket. Do you have tape? How do you not have tape? You have explosive batteries in your fanny pack and you don't have tape?
I mean, I think it describes that for their custom rig, they can create one in like an hour. Just like, okay, give me a computer, boom, boom, boom. All right. Now
I need that guy's prosthetic leg.
Holy shit! You actually brought that? I was kidding.
Their main skill is intelligence, for obvious reasons, and obviously dexterity to not get shot at.
Yeah.
They have 8 class skills. And their ranks per level is 4+ intelligence, which again reflects the Envoy being 8+ intelligence plus charisma, whatever the Envoy was.
Yeah, no
intelligence.
No, it's all your skills are always going to be based off
intelligence. Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So 4+ intelligence modifier. versus the 8 plus intelligence modifier, which I guess it kind of like reflects the fact that like it's like you said earlier, the Envoy is just a natural leader, whereas this guy is like actually like a studious person. So obviously, excuse me, the Envoy might not have a large intelligence modifier, but this guy may more than likely is going to have a large.
Yeah. And not only that, but that also lends to the fact that a mechanic will probably be like specialized thing, like not like okay, I know a lot about like engineering, but like this like computers.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. They proficient with light armor, basic melee weapons, grenades, and small arms.
Yep.
Very similar to the Envoy. However, the cool thing about this class, though, again, is the intelligence based, like fix it, destroy it, or make it attitude. But also, they have a freaking AI, which is kind of like a bit of like a ranger beastmaster situation here, but like way better.
They start out with a kind of, depending on which one you pick, and a familiar or like a pseudo familiar. You know.
Yeah. So what I like the way to describe it is that it is an intelligent and artificial intelligence so advanced that it's borderline not self-sufficient. What is it? Self-aware.
Yeah.
But only you, like, it's so advanced, it's so like it's Jarvis times 20, but only you understand how to fix it, how to make it happen, how to make it work. Nobody else can do it except for you.
Yep. So
which I find it very interesting.
So every mechanic has an AI, but only that mechanic knows how to whatever, like fix their AI.
Yeah, and it's Jarvis from Iron Man.
Yeah.
And it can take two forms. It's either a drone or an exocortex.
And
the drone.
Well,
the drone is just a drone, obviously, and the exocortex is like in your head.
So it's like, if you want to go with the easier pick, go with the exocortex, because if you go with the drone, you have to select the chassis, and the drone gets its own page.
Yeah,
the character,
like it has a couple pages in the back with just like, here's how I level up.
Yeah, and it's like
that fun.
It's like, what's it? There's like a surveillance drone, a stealth drone, a combat drone. It's like, all right, and then here's the skill like table for the drone.
It's their own little section just for the drone.
It's a mini character.
Yeah, and for the most part, I mean, if you build it well, like that, your drone is going to be doing the most of the fighting, like the physical fighting of it.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that the mechanic like remotely uses the drone for. Like I would imagine a mechanic would probably rarely actually get scuffle. Like you'll probably see them like in the background, like messing with like the enemy weapons and trying to like hack and do all that stuff.
Yeah, hack the security turrets and then have them go at it.
Yeah.
And they give you just like the other one, they give you some builds. You know, you can be a combat technician, which the little artwork drawn for that one is so cool because it's like a mini what's the name of the robots from Avatar?
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that. It's so cute. We start as a mercenary with that one. You can be an enhanced commando, and you start with a bounty hunter for that one. Then you can be a saboteur, and I love it because it's like one of those like modern dogs with like the backwards knees for the drone. It's pretty cool. You start as an outlaw, and it's a starship engineer, which I'm pretty sure is like the one that I first thought of when I thought of the engineer itself.
Yeah, and I mean, if you invest enough points into your drone, you can eventually ride them. Like they're more than just like a pet. Like they can be like a vehicle. You know?
Yeah, they do a lot of things. Like,
yeah, so
like they have their own character sheet. Like, it's not like the Beastmaster who you're like, oh, go attack that.
Yeah. Oh no, it's dead. Okay. Anyways, no, but it's like I feel like if you want to play a mechanic and you want to do the easy version, just pick the exocortex. That's fine. But I feel like if you want to get the most like bang for your buck, you got to go with the drone. Because
I think if I make one, even for my first playthrough, I will definitely do a drone. And I will suffer through the headache, but I'll do it.
And for anyone listening, we are doing like a criminally amount of like skimming over the topics. Just because these classes are so in depth and there's so much potential and like opportunities, but we can't read straight from the book.
Yeah.
We'll be here.
And also, I don't think we have the experience to like talk in depth for each class. No. Right, like I figure if you do like a long campaign or a couple of short adventures in Pathfinder, I mean Starfinder, I think I'll feel more comfortable talking in depth for each one of them because I can put like personal like what I experienced with each one of those into it. But like so far, like Andrew said, like we're skimming. Like there's a lot here. We're skimming.
These classes are in depth. Like yeah, you don't get as many as 5e, but man, they do a lot. So.
Yeah. All right, next one, Mystic, the magic user.
I'd say this is more of the cleric. Like this is actually a well, I mean no, because they like okay, pick a god. That's what domain you're in.
Yeah.
The Technomancer,
I guess
definitely.
So this one starts with 7 points. Again, 6 plus Constitution modifier. Starts with 6 HP, and the ability here is Wisdom plus Charisma, or Wisdom's your main, Charisma that's obviously a good one. And then for skill ranks is a total of 12 class skills that you can use.
Yep, and they get a little bit more. They get 6 plus their intelligence modifier, so they get a little bit more than mechanic.
Yeah.
So.
And then proficiencies: light armor, basic melee weapons, and small arms. No grenades.
Nope, no grenades, no nothing. These guys, any thing they're gonna do offensively is probably gonna be through their spells. And oh man, can they?
Oh my god, there's so many. There's so many spells.
You remember that picture I sent you of that one description?
Yeah. Mine, or was it head explode?
Yeah, no, that was explode head at 18th
explode head, yeah.
Yeah, which is at 18th level, just anything within 60 feet, they have to make a they have to make a reflex saving throw or something like that, and if they fail, the head just pops. I mean, it's obviously more ingrained than that, but come on.
Yeah. So yeah, these guys, I mean, they're like the cleric, but they're scarier. Well, I think clerics are already pretty scary.
They're a cleric that has connected themselves to like the outer space gods, which is like, oh god.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to add that I was actually kind of disappointed in this class, and so far in the fact that it's like, oh, here are the connections, like the deity connections, but they don't have a range of alignments that you can be. Because I'm only saying this as a grumpy old man, because I remember like in the 3.5 days and in Pathfinder, where it's like, okay, you want to align yourself to God, you have to be within the certain alignment range, or else you lose the spell. And I read
maybe they have the same thought process as Wizards of the Coast, where like, oh, that is such a like, it limits you too much.
I mean, it kind of does, and also kind of doesn't. It also gives.
I see where you're coming from, though. It's just the same thing I've been saying. Like, it just allows you to roleplay in a certain way more specifically, and there's a consequence if you don't.
Yeah,
like, I get it.
Yeah, like I just feel like it's just kind of defanging the alignment system, because it's like, I'm not gonna ever play as a neutral good, like.
But that's been
mystic,
but that's been. That's been like a trend though with a lot of role playing games. Is the alignment system just it's kind of being watered down a lot.
I'm just saying, like, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they just eventually.
Are you being an old man yelling at clouds?
Ah! but I'm just saying, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of silent.
Yeah.
Them, you know.
Yeah. So I have the builds I have is like one of them is a Crusader Chaplain, and if that's not a Warhammer 40k reference, I don't know what is.
Oh,
legit looks like it's just an Inquisitor. Then the Empath, which just looks like a monk wizard. Star Shaman, which actually the artwork's pretty cool for that one. And a Synodruid.
And yeah. That's right. These kind of the mystic also kind of does roll in the form of a druid, doesn't it? Like it's like a weird like half cleric, half druid thing. The way spells work in Starfinder is weird, and it's definitely something like you can't just like immediately slip into a spell casting class and be like comfortable with it. You definitely need to
play it and practice it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Okay.
Which actually,
all right, cool.
Which actually, I think, I think it's actually one of the coolest ones in my opinion. It's the equivalent of the rogue. It's the operative, which is Gamora, obviously. Yep. This one's interesting because, so again, 6 plus your Constitution modifier for stamina points, 6 HP, no problem. But your key ability score It says that your dexterity helps you infiltrate and get into position, escape danger, and make decisive shots with your weapons. So dexterity is your key ability score. High intelligence boosts your skills, and charisma aids in your interaction with the other skills. So dexterity, obviously, all the way for the first one, but then it encourages you to have intelligence and charisma.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
for your other skills.
It's a spy. It's someone that's supposed to go undercover, and they're not just an assassin. They're not just there to kill. Like they have an objective. They have skills. They actually the only one besides the envoy, I think, that gets at eight skill ranks plus their intelligence. So So it's like this is an envoy that has learned weapons and doesn't care about battlefield tactics. Like this is the person's like, okay, we need one person to go undercover and figure this out. You send your
16 class skills, just like the envoy, and is proficient with light armor, melee weapons, small arms, and sniper weapons.
So that just kind of gives you an idea of what they're leaning for in this one.
Yeah. And they have a bunch of like specializations, and man, that skills so many.
They don't have sneak attack. They have trick attack, which is essentially sneak attack, but it caps out at 10d8 damage. Like whole
10d8
shit. Yeah,
only
10d8. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, you gotta think it's 10d8 plus whatever like stupid sniper rifle damage that you're gonna be doing, because I'm pretty sure the sniper rifles like start at like they end at like 3d100. So,
yeah. I also like how this one has some specializations. Some of them are just daredevil, detective, explorer, a ghost, which reminds me, that's like StarCraft all the way. Hacker, spy, and thief.
Yeah, the operative is.
It gives you like do the exploits. So many. You're Ghost from StarCraft. You are Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, pick your poison. That's
yeah, just give you an idea. One of the sniper rifles does 10d10 damage, so then add 10d8 on top of it. So
damn.
Yeah.
Some of the builds: a hacker with a theme of an outlaw, an investigator, a bounty hunter, gotta make sense, a thief, outlaw again, and a trailblazer. He's a spacefarer.
So cool. Yeah, no, the operative is just take a rogue, give him a gun.
Yeah, operative for me is one of the funnest. Classes.
That definitely has the most potential.
You want to do some crazy output damage?
Yeah,
other than the soldier, that's probably your next best bet.
It's actually kind of weird now that you think about it. Like the ones that don't cast magic seem to have the most potential for change. Does that make sense? Like they seem to have the most opportunities to be something different.
Yeah, I can see it.
Anyways, enough of that garbage.
Solarian,
a weird barbarian paladin mix.
Yeah.
So a Solarian is a warrior that gets their energy from the stars, and as soon as combat starts, they enter like a sort of rage mode, and it's automatic. Like you don't get a choice.
But you explain it as rage mode, but it's more like I'm thinking like when like Star-Lord got like the stars in his eyes. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
That's what I'm saying. Like a weird barbarian.
Yeah.
Where it's like you immediately start harnessing power from the stars. Now, what's interesting is that depending on what kind of stars you harness from, you can either harness power from like black holes, which is like the graviton stars, or you can harness power from what's the other one? I'm losing it. Oh god.
Photon mode?
Yeah, photon mode, which is like literally just light and dark.
Yeah.
And the neat thing about it is that depending on how many rounds you stay attuned to one of the stars, because at any point you can just unattune and you'll be neutral and you'll lose this attunement point. Yeah. But for how many rounds you stay attuned affects your skills. Like there are some where you only need one attunement point, and so you're in that attunement for one round, and you can immediately pop the skill. Whereas if you stay attuned for 3 rounds, which is the max, you can pop all these other crazy skills, and then so you can bank your attunement points for combat skills, or you can just, I don't know,
Yeah,
pop out
yeah, and
smaller ones.
this is giving like, I'm pretty sure I played a video game like this where you like like maybe I'm thinking of like Infamous, when you do a lot of like a certain type of like skill, and like it builds up and you get access to more powerful skills.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get to choose either one, or you can flip if you want to. But it's very interesting. I think you're right. This is definitely not one that I would start with, in my opinion.
I actually don't think it's that bad.
Really?
Because I read it and I immediately understood it. So I'm like, okay, if you go into the mindset that like I said, if you go into the mindset it's like a weird paladin thing, like, oh, okay, no, I immediately I'm able to stick with it immediately.
So you can do oaths, and depending on how many oaths you do, and how long you stick with those.
But your oaths are to the stars, and
yeah.
And what's really neat is that you don't need, like, they have weapon proficiencies, but it's like the stars are like, no, we got you. Like, here's our weapon for you, and you can either start out with a solar weapon or solar armor, and those things will upgrade as you level up. So you can only pick one or the other.
Yeah. Their main skill is charisma, and they encourage strength. However, this is the first one that has the stamina points, so you start with 7 instead of 6 plus your constitution modifier.
Yep.
And you start with 7 HP points.
These are tanky boys.
Yeah, you have the 10 class skills.
Well, actually, no, they're not tanky. They only have proficiency in light armor, but they're probably meant to take damage.
So far, all of them is only light armor, which is interesting. I put here Solar Templar in Stellar mode for all of these. But they have 10 class skills, light armor, weapon proficiency with basic and advanced melee weapons, and small arms.
Yeah,
it's a very unique class for sure. Like there's so many pages of skills.
But and I'll just say this little nugget and then we can move on. But what I really like is that the fact that it's like you can be a graviton Solarian or a photon Solarian, but they also like a balance where it's like because there's a lot of things where if you lean too much into one or the other, you actually start getting negative for certain. So I think it's like because the abilities are called revelations. So if you have too many graviton revelations, you start getting negatives for something. Whereas if you have too many photon revelations, you also start to as well. So you need to balance your character out between two. And it's like no, we are forcing you to be like adaptable in combat.
Yeah. Right. The next one, which is probably the most basic. Or not basic. I don't want to say basic, but like the more straightforward class.
Yeah, do not call this class basic.
Yeah, no, it's not. Which is the soldier, and I put here as tracks. Stamina points again 7. This is starting to get the beefy boys, and then you start with 7 HP. Your key abilities are strength or dexterity.
You have to pick
plus constitution. Yeah.
Yeah. So your resolve points are either going to be dictated by strength or dexterity, and once you pick it, you cannot change it.
Yep.
So if you're like, oh, I want to be dexterity. Oh wait, no, I like strength. It's too damn bad. You're gonna have to roll up another.
Yep. Yep. And then I think this has the lowest amount of skill ranks, which is 4 plus intelligence modifier, but it also only has 8 class skills.
Yeah. Your skill is to kill. That's
kill. Yeah, and that reflects because your proficiency is light armor and heavy armor right off the bat. Your weapons proficiency is basic and advanced melee weapons, small arms, long arms, heavy weapons, sniper rifles, and grenades.
But not only at that, but did you see the class features? This is classic. This is classic for a fighter.
Oh yeah. You get like a shit ton, like constantly.
Every other level you get
third. Yep.
Boom, 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 boom. Feet City, baby. Let's go.
You're the frontliner. You're the one who's taking all the hits. You're the one who's killing the most. Like, you're going to be up there and people are going to be supporting you.
But it's important to note that just because you have proficiencies with all these weapons, that's not all the weapons. There's still, like, power armor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The soldier starts out with a running start, but you still need to use those feet to the really big guns.
Yep.
So
which is what every soldier aims for.
yeah, and so the soldier, it's obviously it's a fighter. That's what they're good at.
Yeah, yeah.
But they start out with you start out level 1, you can pick a primary fighting style, and then I think at level 9 you can pick a second one. And some of these primary fighting styles are just brutal. Like you have the Arcane Assailant, which is essentially just like a Eldritch Knight, and that's cool and all. Who cares? But then, but then you have Armor Storm, where you use the armor you are wearing as a weapon. Like you become a wrecking ball. And then you got Blitz, which is all about speed and aggression. So you might be leaning more towards melee on that. There's Bombard, which is like artillery. You're the grenade guy. There's the Guard, which obviously you lean your AC more towards helping people, and you're also more defensive. The Hit and Run, I was at first I was like, oh, this is kind of dumb. But then as I read it, I'm like, wow, this is actually genius, because the Hit and Run, they gain AC based on their movement, and they start to avoid attacks of opportunity against them. Like they you have to be in motion while you're the Hit and Run. And then you got the Sharpshooter, which I would imagine if you put enough feats into it could probably outdo an Operative. But still, that's a thing. So
dude, you get something at like almost every level.
I think are we clear on which one's my favorite class so far?
The thing is, you're never gonna play it, and every time somebody else plays it, you're gonna be like, I should have been a soldier.
I should have been a soldier. No, that's my first character. My first character is gonna be a soldier this time.
No, it's not, and you know it's not gonna.
No,
be.
It will. I want to be a soldier. Actually, no.
I'm gonna mark my words. Andrew will not be a soldier. I guarantee it, and not because I say so. He's just gonna change his mind.
Well, no, because someone else is gonna be like, I want to be a soldier. Like,
I guess. Classic Andrew. All right, and then the last one, but not least, the Technomancer.
The Technomancer. It's literally a wizard with a computer.
yeah. So stamina points, probably the lowest, which is 5 plus Constitution modifier, and you start with 5 HP.
Yep.
Obviously, it's intelligence plus dexterity, so you don't get hit. Also, skill ranks per level. The lowest, I think, it's also 4 plus intelligence modifier. Well, your intelligence should be pretty high. And only 8 skills. You're proficient with light armor, basic melee weapons, and small arms.
But
however,
the spells.
The spells. That's where you shine. That's your bread and butter. And like every freaking wizard type class ever, you look at the class features and there's always blanks. Why is that? Why?
Because what you're going to be doing is that you're going to be casting a lot of spells, and like there's no wizard subclasses, and that's when you get things called magic hacks, which you use your magic to like mess with like the computers and technology and stuff around you. But I mean it's weird because there's really not a lot to go into, but there's also a lot to go into with the techno. You know.
Well, yeah, I mean they shine with their spells. We're not gonna go through every single one of the spells.
Yeah, I mean it's weird because out of all of these, the Technomancer is probably not the least interesting, but probably like it's weird they become like the most basic class kind of, where it's like, are you used to wizards? All right, good. Here's your Techno. You're fine.
Yeah, which I mean, it's like you mentioned it, it's like last episode where like spell kind of like or magic kind of like a step back to everything else.
Yeah.
And this is
yeah
what it is.
Yeah, so like technology is starting to become the primary. Magic is taking accept to that, and this kind of shows the Technomancer. Where I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like the spells are garbage, but it's like the Technomancer class is significantly smaller than the Mechanic class in terms of page range.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, I mean, we made it. We talked all about classes and races. How do you feel?
I want to run Starfinder so no. I want to play Starfinder.
Yeah. I'm gonna run it
so freaking bad, and it's just like if you. Okay, so my final thoughts on Starfinder, because I don't know if we're going to be visiting this until we play it or not. But my final thoughts on Starfinder is, yeah, there are a lot of rules. There are.
Yeah.
There's a ton of rules, but I see these rules as opportunities. I see them as what's possible. And with Starfinder, like the sky's the limit. There's like almost nothing you can.
Yeah.
And-
No, I agree. I agree with you 100%. I think for my first character, it's definitely gonna be a mechanic. What's the name of the little guys? Ysoki.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they lend themselves to that.
So
I might play a Vesk soldier. Just
you're not gonna play a soldier.
I'll never play a. I'll play and be like I should have played a soldier.
Yeah, I know you will. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I mean, I love it. I think it's different. It's really different. They went off the walls with it, and I appreciate it.
And
I want to see it. I want to run it. I want to see what you guys do with it.
And I think the fact that it's in a futuristic setting, it just opens up so many things. Whereas like I hate to say it, like after reading Starfinder, I found D&D to be pretty limiting because it's like you can do a lot of things in D&D, but you're still kind of stuck to this like sword and board sorcery kind of thing. Whereas like Starfinder's like, no man, go crazy. If you can dream it, you can do it in Starfinder.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I love D&D. D&D is not gonna go anywhere, but this is very, very opening.
Yeah.
And while it seems intimidating, I think it's not. Like the more I read, like it's overwhelming. I can tell you that much for me at least. But I don't think it's too far off. What we already know.
I can definitely see being with the right amount of experience in the right table. I could see Starfinder. This is gonna be blasphemy, but hear me out. I could see Starfinder like surpassing for me in certain. Where it's just
Andrew.
Like, well,
Andrew, take that back.
am I getting kicked off the podcast now?
Yeah, sorry.
No, but I mean, I'm just saying, like just based on what you can.
I'm gonna post it on LinkedIn. Looking for a new host.
must be loyal
to D&D.
But no, I'm just saying with what you can do, like the amount of possibilities and fun. I mean, and not only that, but what you can pull from, know.
No, I agree. No, I agree 100%. I do.
Like, do you want a Star Wars campaign? You can do it. Do you want a Star Trek campaign? You can do it. Like there's so it's
or you can just buy the Star Trek book or the Star Wars RPG.
Ain't no one got time for that. No, but I mean, like I'm not saying like have a straight like Star Trek like immediate, but be like, do you want like campy like space adventures, or do you want like gritty like cyberpunk adventures, or
Firefly,
or do you want like kind of like mystic like Dune adventures? Like you can do that. Anything you want to do, if it involves a spaceship or like a different planet or whatever, you can do it here. We
can do Firefly, Space Cowboys.
You could do Firefly. You could probably do Doctor Who if if you tool the rules.
I am not doing a time travel campaign ever.
Why? That would be cool. Just be like, let's
keeping track of all that bullshit.
Let's stop Space Hitler.
Oh man. Right. Well, let's move on to our next segment of our show.
Where we talk more
session
about
highlights.
Oh, okay.
No, session highlights, Andrew.
I want to talk about the spaceships.
No, we're done with Starfinder. We're never gonna touch it ever again. Ever.
We failed to convert people, and it makes me sad.
Well, hopefully we'll be back with like a session highlight of Starfinder at one point.
So we were trapped on this like Vesk world, and our mechanic kept failing their engineering thing to start the engines. And Jose's like, you gotta give me some fucking time.
You're flooding it.
And I'm like, you gotta hurry it up, man.
Oh man. Right, Andrew. What are your session highlights?
Meanwhile, Alex is running to the spaceship. He's like, start the engine! Start the engine!
The rest of the group is pushing the spaceship for a second. You gotta get it a running start.
Anyways, God, sorry.
Try to switch back to D&D.
Yeah, boring old D&D. No, I'm kidding. Let's see. My session highlight would have to be when you were not there.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So Jose was not there for one session.
I was there. I was driving.
No, I mean you were watching, but you were not present at the table.
I love that. I love that. Like, wait a minute, I can connect with Discord. I just like jump in there. And I'm driving.
You need to drive.
No.
I want to roll the. Oh God.
The last thing you see in the webcam is a D20 rolling into.
That doesn't. Can you hear me? Hello? I'd like the ambulance, like woo.
Oh shit!
Anyway.
All right, such a highlight.
Okay, so probably my session highlight for for the campaign, or sorry, for the session that you weren't there, was that, and this was just me, because we had referenced this many sessions as to what the accent for Lonelywood was, but everyone kind of forgot. So what they got into Lonelywood, and like I was describing it as a charming like Christmas what and somebody spots Swift and just immediately pops out in this like Midwestern Canadian accent. Almost everybody was like, "Oh God, it's this town." and so it's my specific highlights was me torturing the group with puns and the shitty Canadian accent I was pulling. Oh, you missed it because okay, no, this is my session. so after the group encounters Torga and non-violently deals with her, they part ways. They leave Tourmaline, and they were making a joke about how like Tourmaline has all the street art and crap like that. It's really bad, blah blah blah. And I was obviously leaning into it because like so. And somebody said something about like, oh, does Tourmaline have like a going away sign, like, hey, bye, thanks for stopping by, come back again. And I just came up with the like it says like, yeah, you are currently leaving Tourmaline. You've been a real gem. That's what the sign says. and Robert,
I heard that and I just face palm as I was driving.
And Robert's like, I fucking hate this town.
I laughed so hard when that happened. I was like, really?
It's just like everyone was just like, so just getting everyone to be like that. That's my highlight. Just torturing them with my dad puns. That's, to me, that's my personal highlight.
That's funny. I think my highlight was the fucking statues.
The scary GIF? Oh, okay.
No, the statues. I was like, we were trying to figure out like what the statues are. We just so we're hunting for this moose, or not hunting, but trying to track this moose. Mm-hmm. And then we get there, we follow the tracks, and we get to like this area where like we see the moose tracks go past a line of like 7 statues. But every time somebody passes the statues, they get like a magical effect, and like, oh, I hate this. Or, oh wait, this is not. They get flustered and they're like, this is not to make sense, and they turn back and leave. Right. So it's
specifically. I mean, I might as well pull back the curtain because you guys solved it. But it's specifically described that whatever is past the statues, you're apathetic, and there's no save. You just don't care about what's beyond the statue. So that was the effect, where it's just like you go past the statues and you realize this not conducive to whatever you were doing, and you turn back away. Yeah,
we spent, dude, what was it, like 30-40 minutes trying to figure out like all these different ways. Like I think 3 of the party members actually go past the statues to see what it was, and then they turn away. And we're trying to figure out like, oh, what if we do this? And then all of a sudden Heather's like, yep. Andrew, can we go on the whisper chat? And like, oh, okay. So they go to the whisper chat for like a couple minutes, and they come back.
Okay,
and
hold on. Okay, so I'm going to reveal to you what Heather said to me. She says, "Hey, if I use my powerful build, can I throw Swift past the statue. And I'm like, yeah, you should be able to. I mean, you're going to be like this strong. So yes, please go for it. And then we just immediately jump back. And then we jump back, and I'm like, hey, Robert, I need to talk to you real quick on the whisper chat.
Yeah. Well, because she mentions, she's like, oh, I'm gonna throw Swift over the statues, and then you guys like, hey, yeah, can I talk to you? You pop back, and I'm like, is he gonna take full damage? Because that's gonna be a lot of damage. And then she's like, oh my god, did I just kill Swift?
No, so I described. So what I did was, first of all, I waited till he stopped laughing because he was laughing like a full 10 seconds. So I was like, all right, but I explained to him what was going to happen, and how being that far out or far into the field is going to affect him. And it was essentially you're going to fall, you're going to hit something solid, like way too solid to be snow or hill or whatever. But the magical effects are going to cloud your mind to the point that you don't even care. You just want to get back past the stat. No, yeah. Like that's essentially what that was. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to give you an idea. I'm just going to give you a heads up. You are going to hit something, like something that's obviously constructed, but the statue's magic makes it to where like you don't even care about that. You're just annoyed. All right, going back.
Right. Yeah, so that happens. He gets pissed. He walks back, and then like after like 45 minutes or so of just trying to figure out what the hell is happening to this with the statues. Which from the get go we should have tried that at the beginning. Beer is just like, can I just break the statues? And then he was like, yep.
There's people. No, I said you could try, but there's like there's people like doing history checks, doing arcana checks.
All kinds of checks.
There's like a small revelation where people realize, oh, Gar can wild shape. He just hasn't for some reason. Yeah. Because Gar's like, what?
Yeah, Octavius like, wait, you can change it. You can turn into animals.
Yeah, because Gar's like, what if I turn into a moose? Maybe this is like a moose only zone.
And then Octavius was hung up about the fact that he could turn into animals for like 10 minutes. Oh, it was glorious. It was one of those moments where it's like, the solution is too simple.
Yeah. I read it. I'm like, these guys are really gonna overthink this, and we're probably
it's gonna be 3 sessions, camping, figure it out, trying to like.
We're gonna spend an hour just sitting here worrying about the statues.
Didn't somebody lick the statue? Was that Octavio? I can't.
No, I think that was a joke. I think we were making a reference, but like, I gotta taste the marble and stuff like.
Be the marble.
But no.
Yeah.
But so that happened. There was some interesting stuff that happened too. Mittens was able to eavesdrop in on a bounty hunt that went wrong and stuff like that, because previously in the session that you missed out on, like, they did find Torga, but they found a body in one of the caravans, and Swift was able to take a ring out from it. And then that kind of like messed with the deal that Torga had with some person in Lonelywood, that Mittens was able, with like a super good stealth check and like a natural 20 perception check, was able to like listen in on something. So yeah, there's neat things happening in Lonelywood. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's it. Do you have any news? I wanted to say there was news about D&D, but could be wrong.
Not that I know of. I haven't been checking though. But all right, with that, everybody who joined us, thank you so much for sticking around and listening to our talks about Starfinder. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned something. I hope we encouraged you to either play Starfinder or throw it away, either one. If you enjoyed us and our madness, please make sure to check us out on Twitch and Facebook. We stream almost every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Wednesday for sure. It has to be something really extreme for us not to stream. That's our Dungeons and Dragons live campaign. We're right now playing through Rime of the Frost Maiden. On Thursday, Alex plays video games. And on Tuesday, I'm supposed to play video games, but life gets in the way and sometimes I don't. So make sure to follow us on Twitch and Facebook to stay up to date with the most crazy shenanigans when it comes to Rime of the Frost Maiden. But yeah.